In Tragedy, a true crime podcast, we discuss crimes that may be violent in nature. At times, we may cover homicides, missing people, and other topics that may be unsettling. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Tragedy, a true crime podcast. I'm Elisa.
And I'm Michael.
And the focus for today's episode will mostly be about Jody and the big birthday celebration that's coming up. We have a couple of things to share about that. But before we get into that, we do have a couple of updates on our other case, Ian Rogers, who has been missing for almost a year now, August 26th. So we do know that one of the local news reporters hopefully will be reaching out to Teresa coming up on the 1-year anniversary and doing a story on Ian's disappearance. We're really excited that the media is getting involved and, put some more exposure on this case. And because of that, last time, remember, Michael, when we talked to Teresa, she said that she hadn't heard from Wakulla County Sheriff's Office for a while.
That's correct. And now that the news have reached out, she has heard from them. And so we have a couple of updates regarding who's assigned to the case and some clarifications on a few details.
Yeah. We had heard from Captain Srirachi several months ago that the main point of contact for Ian's case was Detective Wester, because Detective Wester is over criminal investigations. And so remember, we had talked one night about how we thought, well, that was sort of interesting. Does that mean that maybe there's something going on that we don't know about? Which was totally fine. This was also kind of surprising to Teresa because she didn't know that change had been made. Well, as it turns out, that change hasn't been made. Detective Del Beato did reach out and spoke with Teresa after the news reporter reached out to Wakulla County Sheriff's Office. And Detective Del Beato did confirm with Teresa that he is the lead, and Ian's case is still considered a missing persons case. And so, if you have any information that you would like to share with the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office, that needs to go directly to Scott Del Beato, and that's going to be SDELBEATO at Wakulla County Sheriff's Office.org. So we want to make sure that any tips that people are sharing are getting to the correct person. So we felt that was really, really important.
Just as a point of clarity, are you saying that, originally we talked about this being escalated to a criminal case? Are you saying that it's not a criminal case, that it's still being treated as a missing person case?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. And that is what Teresa found out earlier this week. And of course, she communicated with me right away to let me know that, she had heard from the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office, which is something, she had been hoping for. And that's, yes, it was still a missing persons case. So somewhere along the line, the wires got kind of mixed up at Wakulla County Sheriff's Office. This is not a criminal investigation. And so that's just the small, quick update that we have on Ian's case that we wanted to share with everybody. And so now let's get into our main focus for our conversation tonight, which is the annual birthday celebration for Jody.
All right. So what we're going to do, Al, is we'll talk to Cyndi, and let's go and get into it.
So before we talk about the big birthday celebration that's coming up later this week, we do want to just give a quick summary of Jody's case for those of you who maybe just listened to Ian's case. And we covered Jody's case in the first 6 episodes of our podcast, plus the one we just did last week, right, where we had the geoprofiler and the forensic examiner. So we thought we would just talk briefly about Jody's case and even why we got to it for people who maybe didn't listen to our first few episodes. So do you want to talk about Jody and your relationship to him? Because that's really what brought us here initially.
Yeah, I mean, Jody Kilgore is one of my uncles. And this is one of those things that it actually is one of the things that decided to get us to kick off the podcast in the first place. And it's been really interesting. It's been sad in a lot of cases to kind of learn. There's a lot of details that I think that I learned as part of this process as we kind of started, digging into some of the details of the case. but it really kind of encouraged me to really want to do more for the family, to do more for the community. And, that's why we set up this platform to start with.
Yeah. And, in the beginning, we were just thinking, oh, we'll just do a couple of episodes. We'll tell people about his case. And it's become so much more than that, right? We are working with the family to get people to the birthday celebration, which we'll talk about here at the end. And it just really rallied behind the family. So just briefly, Jody Kilgore was killed on October 6, 2014, in his driveway. We don't know too much more about that because the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office continues to call this an open and active case. And despite our requests through the Freedom of Information Act, we're not getting any information from them. So really all we've been able to learn have been in a couple of articles that were in the Wakulla Sun and by talking to, family members and doing records searches and things like that.
Well, don't forget also about the community event that was put on that I thought was actually a wealth of information. And for anyone who hasn't listened to that episode or any of the episodes 1 through 6 that cover this case in a lot more detail, I highly encourage you take a look at that one, because that is the one and only time that we have on record anyone from law enforcement even speaking about the case.
Yeah, and that is really due to the community rallying around Gladys, Jody's mom. We're putting our podcast out and continue to on several of the Wakulla County Facebook pages. And we got a reach out from the Palavar Tree Theater. And the person who is at that theater said, hey, I have this recording from a few years ago. And Sheriff Miller was there and Captain Srirachi and Gladys. And would you guys like to have that? And we were like, yes. And so that's good. Thank you for bringing that back up. That's a reminder. We did learn a lot from that. I keep calling it a town hall event where the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office did speak. So that is linked in episode 3 if people really wanted to kind of look into that. There have been, it seems to be in the community, if you took maybe 10 people and said who were around at the time, because it's been 11 years now. So there seems to be some pretty firm thinking about a particular person who has a high level of involvement. A name was taken to the state attorney's office, and at the time there wasn't enough evidence to file charges against that person. So this case remains open and active. There have been no arrests made. And there may have been persons of interest and suspects and things like that. But, you'll hear from Cyndi today. And you've also heard from Robin, if you listen to her episode, that Gladys, Jody's mom, she's getting up there. And she's been taken to the hospital a couple of times, to my knowledge, in the last few weeks. And the family really wants some resolution for Gladys. And that's why we continue to talk about this case. And particularly coming up, you'll hear from Cyndi about the importance of attending this birthday celebration. They do a birthday celebration for Jody every year since his homicide. And then they also do a vigil on the day of his homicide, which is in October. And as we get closer to that, we'll talk more about that. So if you are in the Crawfordville, Tallahassee, Sopchoppy, Panacea, that area, it's really important that you listen to Cyndi and even just try to find time just to go over for 10 or 15 minutes, meet the family, and let them know that you're still there for them. And so we'll hear from Cyndi, and she'll tell us a little bit more about that. Today, we're really excited to talk to Cyndi, and Cyndi is another of Jody's sisters. And today we'll be talking specifically about the upcoming birthday celebration. We want to make sure we have as many people present and participating in the birthday celebration. And so we're really glad that Cyndi's here to talk that up for us. And welcome, Cyndi.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And Michael's here too.
I'm also here.
You're always here. So the birthday celebration is coming up at 7 p.m. on Saturday, August 16th. And it looks like it's in Spring Creek near the intersections of Spring Creek Highway and Ben Willis Road. We did map this a little bit. It looks like if people get to the boat launch, they might have passed it. But can you give us a little more information about where the birthday celebration will be for people who aren't familiar with the area?
Okay. You drive all the way to Spring Creek, all the way to the very end. It's right past the old Spring Creek restaurant, which is still up there. And it will be on the right side. There's a point where the water is, and there's a piece of land there that they always let us have the celebration there because that's where Jody fished at all the time. So if you go to the restaurant, just take a right. I mean, we'll have signs up and everything, so there's no way you can miss it.
So you're saying if people head out is it off the Spring Creek Highway and just head south?
Yes, go straight down all the way to the water.
Okay.
That helps me a little bit because
does.
we've been to Shell Point. That's Spring Creek Highway, right? But you turn off to go, but they're going to just keep going.
That's
Go
right.
towards the water.
Right. You just keep straight. Yep.
And then look for the signs.
Right.
I think that's really helpful. So what do you guys do at the birthday celebration? What does it kind of normally look like?
Okay. We usually have a dinner. Everybody brings a covered dish, and we'll all eat and everything, and then we'll do like a birthday cake, and then we light off lanterns. As soon as it turns dark, we'll have the lanterns to light off. It's like the Japanese lanterns.
Oh, yeah.
And you put them in the water like that?
No, they go up in the air.
Oh, they're like balloon. Oh, I think I've seen this actually.
Yes.
I saw it on, I don't know if it was on Facebook or if it was in one of the news reportings, but I did see that. So I can picture that in my mind. So
Yeah, they're really neat. So
that looks really interesting. So
the first year that we did them, actually, when we let some of them go, they formed a J in the sky, which that was kind of crazy, but that's how it happened.
that is a little wild. I'm here for that.
Yep.
Oh, I love that stuff. Do people need to let you know they're coming? Like, do you organize, like, bring certain kinds of covered dishes or just bring what works for you?
Just bring whatever you want to bring. Normally I do a bunch of food, so if nobody else brings food, we usually have enough, but it's nice to have extra,
That kind of sounds like the South, right?
That's the South. Anytime
Yeah.
we get together in the South, we always like to have extra.
Because I'm
Yeah.
always counting. I'm like, how many people? And he's like, why are you counting? Just get plenty of food.
Right, that's how we do it. I've always do 2 or 3 crock pots full of like cowboy beans, and we usually have a chicken dip, and sometimes we have seafood, like shrimp, boiled shrimp or something like that. But we always have enough for everybody, so.
I'm learning that that's the mantra.
That's
It
right.
doesn't matter what time or how many people there are, there will always be enough for everybody,
That's correct.
right? Like
Right.
showing up at 2 a.m, but there's,
Well, I'm always going to cook a bunch of food to take down there, so.
I love that. Can you tell us why this is important to your family that we get as many people as we can to this celebration?
Because the murder hasn't been solved yet, and my mother is 80 and she's not doing very well, and I would just like to have everybody that can come out there to to support my mom, show my mom that there is still people that are aware that this hasn't been solved, and that they care enough about her. And my mama knows everybody in Wakulla County and tons of surrounding counties, so we should have a full house, you know what I mean? So I just want everybody to come support my mom.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I mean, we were able to speak with her, maybe it was episode 6. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was episode 6. And she, we asked her, like, what do you need from the community? And that's exactly what she said, right? We need to show up. We need people to be present. We need people to remember. We need people to send in tips. Just keep it, in the forefront as much as possible.
Right.
All right. So as a quick recap, everybody get in your cars, get on down the Spring Creek Highway, head towards the water. And it's going to be Saturday, August 16th at 7 p.m. And if you get to the boat launch, you went too far, and watch for the signs.
That's right.
Anything else that we haven't thought about that you would like to make sure that people in the community are aware of?
No, I just want everybody to show up and give my mom some peace.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Despite extensive investigations by the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, no arrests have been made and the case remains unsolved. It is the only unsolved homicide in Wakulla County. Authorities continue to seek information from the public to help solve the case. The Kilgore family has been vocal in their pursuit of justice, keeping the case in the public eye and urging anyone with information to come forward. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has also shared appeals for assistance on social media, emphasizing the importance of community involvement in resolving this case. If you have any information related to Jody Kilgore's murder, please contact the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office or the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. You can also call the tip line at 850-296-8690 and leave any information you may have. All identifying information will be removed and the tips will be shared with Major Wester at the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office. Alternatively, you can email us at whokilledgeorgekilgore@gmail.com.